So this week, I want you to imagine that you are a member of the Jewish council known as the Sanhedrin, which means you're a leader, you're a ruler in Jerusalem for the Jewish people. And less than 2 months ago, there was this guy named Jesus, and he was going around saying some pretty bold, what you deem blasphemous claims about being God, making claims about being the Messiah, being the King of the Jews. And so what did you do with that man? You took him to court, you had him tried as a criminal and crucified as a criminal on a Roman cross. You thought that by doing that, you were ending the Jesus movement. But boy, were you wrong. Because 3 days after that, you begin to hear rumors about this man named Jesus who you crucified is now eating and hanging out with people in Jerusalem. And these people, they've come up to you and they've told you that they've seen Jesus and they've seen the scars on his hands, they've seen the scars on his feet and the scar on his side, that they know that it's him. Imagine how threatened you would feel. Imagine the fear that you would begin to feel. But you think this is just an apparition, this is just people seeing something. It can't be true. Well, about 40 days after that, it's the time of Pentecost. And all of the people from all over the world are here in Jerusalem worshiping God for the pilgrimage of Pentecost. And they're here, and you hear this commotion. This commotion is coming from a few buildings down, and so you go and you see, and what you see appalls you. Because you see Peter. And Peter, you know, was one of the disciples of Jesus. He was one of the followers of Jesus. And he is preaching, and there are people all around him. People from all over the world. People that shouldn't even be hearing Peter speak because he couldn't speak their language. But somehow, Peter was speaking, and these people were hearing, and what he was speaking was the gospel. This thing, this story, and maybe the first time you'd heard it like this, but the story of Jesus who was the Messiah and who was crucified and who rose from the grave and who offers life to anyone who will accept it. And right then and there, the Christian movement begins. 3,000 people give their lives to Jesus, and now suddenly you have over 3,000 followers of Jesus living in Jerusalem. And eventually, just a few days later, there's going to be around 5,000 of them. You went from zero, you went from squelching the Jesus movement to now suddenly there being 5,000 followers of Jesus in Jerusalem. And these people, they're living unlike anything you've ever seen. They're sharing all of their possessions. They're going and eating together on a daily basis. And it's this vibrant group of community too. It's this people from Jew and Gentile, men, women, slave, free, young, old. They're all eating together. They share everything in common. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. But you're determined. You wanted to stop the Jesus movement, and so you've got to stop it. And so you're determined to do it. And so you bring Peter and John to trial right there in Jerusalem. But here's the problem. Peter and John, they've just done what the church will continue to do. They've taken a lame man and they've given him the ability to walk in Jesus' name. And you know that this was a lame man. You know that he was crippled and that he sat at the temple gates every day. And now he's walking. And you can't deny that. And the other thing that you can't deny is the fact that this community looks different than anything you've ever seen before. That they love each other, that they're sharing all things, and that people from all around are being drawn to this community. And so you have Peter and John before you. What they've done is undeniable. The difference that they've made is undeniable. The only thing that you can do is you can shut them up. But here's your second problem. Your second problem is that these people, these followers of Jesus, they're not only making an undeniable difference in the city, but they're also so bold. They're bold. And when Peter and John speaks, it scares you because that boldness, that courage was something that you'd only seen in one other person before, and his name was Jesus. You can threaten them with their life, and they won't stop proclaiming the gospel. You can threaten their family's life, and they won't stop proclaiming the gospel. They are bold, they are courageous, they are making this undeniable difference, and they won't stop talking about the gospel. what would you do? Well, in fact, there's nothing that you could do. And there was nothing that these Jewish leaders could do, because the church in this time was making such an undeniable difference, such an undeniable change, that there wasn't anything that they could do about it. The only thing they could do was try and silence the church, and they couldn't even do that. And so this week, as you tell this story to your group, I want you to point your group to this truth and encourage them that this is what the church looks like. That the church is called to live lives that are so undeniably different that the world can't help but take notice. That the church is called to live lives that make such a difference in their community that the world can't help to take notice. The church is called to live lives so that outsiders want to be a part of our community. We are called to make an undeniable difference, a difference that no one can deny. And so this week, we want you to challenge your group with that truth from this story. We hope you have a great time, and we are praying for you, and we'll see you soon.